as you all kind of figured out, the FTX had something to do with the STX.
What do you mean?
So we engineered the scenario on this one to be ambush heavy. And I want to give some credit right off the bat. You all applied what you learned. All right, that's good to see. And with that, we're going to start with Hunter here as the aggressive Bukhan. What was your mission?
What's your circle first?
No, I want you to choke the devil. Bastard.
Choke on some nuts, anyways. So, daytime mission, we were told to ambush the enemy around the house here. And that was to complete elimination, you know.
What was that called? Chateau?
We called it the Chateau. We had code word for it called Chateau. Yep. Second mission, we are to retrieve landmines at this northernmost water resupply point. We're going to tote those and deploy them along this road, the western MSR. Mind that road. That was the order we gave.
Okay. Anybody on the Op 4? I think there was a different plan out there. All right. Blue 4 leader. What was your mission?
So essentially the counterpoint to that is we were told that the dirty infiltrators were interested in this house for unknown reasons, and we were to set up an ambush and wait for them to doing something upon it by day, and by night we were to prevent them from mining the road.
All right. Very good. So, APL. Take us up your first day's action up to about 1900. From insert to 1900.
Where were we? No shit, there we were. We just left the pub. We walked over to our watering point. We took the mines. We did like a, we did a halt, did like an ORP. We sent the security team, checked it out, brought the mines. We stashed them in a hide site, and then we proceeded to our first patrol base location, which was compromised. We set in
My bad.
We set up spillers, recon. We did everything by the book. It was cool. And then we sent in the rest of the patrol base, and then we sent out the RNS teams when we bumped into I don't know, you and somebody else, which was literally by the book, right? I mean, that's the point. You send out your RNS teams, you flush anybody out, and then fuck, we had to move somewhere else. So we just moved down the street to a PB, Gino's Pizza, which was right
right in that area.
Gino's Pizza, 7-Eleven. Just across the street, we were right there. What else did we do? Then you guys pushed out.
Yeah, we moved a separate patrol south, and then
We kept a patrol behind, obviously, for the mining mission. So we kept the fire team and myself at the patrol base, and then the PL took the rest of the element. And I can't really speak for exactly what you guys did.
I can cover that.
That goes up to 1900. So.
Okay. Go out before.
Yeah.
So we left one fire team. I believe that was only Charlie and then you. Yeah, it was 5-man. Yeah. And so I took the rest of the element, which was, what was that, like 13, 14 guys roughly?
Alpha Bravo and the rest of leadership.
Well, my brain's not working right now, but we took a sizable element and skirted the tree line, crossed. We low crawled across this field. That took forever, and then we finally made our way southways through the old patrol base location, where the old fob used to be at. We did take contact in this area. It was the first contact we had on that patrol. The enemy didn't stick around long. It sounded like they just rattled off a magazine and left. So we punched across to the island of trees here, set up a quick ambush line. Yep, sorry.
Young Jay, I believe you were the one that rattled off that magazine. Let's get your perspective on that little engagement real quick.
Sure. So, should I start from the beginning or just?
No, just that particular engagement.
So Nick Hansen and I were doing a recon. We essentially, we've had recon in this area before,
And our thought was, since we've already checked this area and kind of had a hunch that the PB was there, that we're gonna send a recon through there. So Nick Hansen first spotted you guys, and he let me know. He popped off a single shot, his rifle malfunctioned. I dumped an entire magazine and we peeled, which was our SOP at the time.
Okay.
Real quick, what was how did you guys get to the patrol base before us? How did that happen?
So we had a little trick of our sleeves. Instead of getting inserted at the PV,
Well, I'll let the Blue Force commander. I mean,
Yeah,
Blue Force
my bad,
commander. Great question, man. Go ahead. Pick up where you're at.
So we did a quick ambush here. It was getting late. I knew I had to be at the house to set up an ambush before it got dark. So we picked up, used the tall grass to move. We got to a smaller LDA where it was only about 20 or 30 meters across. Crossed into the tree line here, skirted the farmhouse, and I set up a linear ambush. We had support elements watching our flanks. We had a marksman and a couple, I guess I say a couple, 1 or 2 riflemen pointing in the towards the field, and then everybody else was in various positions covering the, I guess you could say the east, or the western side of the farmhouse. Yeah, we're on the west side. I recorded that. That was it was like 6:30 to about 8:30. It's exactly 6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah, well, because your mission you guys didn't get back till 22.
Late,
right?
yeah.
2200, so 1900.
12-hour patrol.
Yeah, we
You know,
yeah,
1900 is like the midpoint of our weird op, so.
So it got dark. We knew we had to. We decided with our goblet we were going to rendezvous back with the other members up here around. It was like 9 or 10 o'clock. So we left. It was 10 actually. 'Cause we left at 8:30. Yeah.
Okay, so you got back at 2200.
Yep. We just pushed back. Got back at 2200. We used the roads all the way back. We
didn't see anybody.
didn't see anybody. Didn't get shot or nothing on the road. So we used the roads all the way back.
Good. All right. He brings up a good point. We use the roads for convenience at night. Your enemy in the real world will do that a lot. You know, it's hard enough moving through these woods in the daytime with all those barnacles and other items. So at night, it's exponentially harder, and you got to make time. Yeah, people will take the risk of going to the road and using speed and security. It's not a bad tactic. I mean, you can see it paid off now. All right, Scott, as Blue Force Commander, take us from when you stepped off to 1900.
Okay, so this will answer the question how we got there. So we got all our stuff together. We're gonna go move down to our the combat outpost. That was our orders to occupy this. We took our first lift, which was all packs and most people. And then the second lift, they did a false insertion, and they boogied around this vicinity, more or less. We had two hunter-killer teams, and the point was just kind of a spoiling attack, like, hey, whatever you're doing, I don't want you to do it anymore, so I'm screwed. Which is kind of the theme with, but yeah, well, that's what you want to do, so that's what I want you not to do. So they took contact exactly as I was hoping they would, or made contact, and after that, they ended up coming on down this way. The rest of us did establish our patrol base down here, and we assembled about a third of our force to come on up to the farmhouse. Our orders were to ambush by day, which is obviously a little bit vague, so we took who we could, had a security element here, and essentially set up, our intelligence was pretty much anywhere in this kind of 160-degree arc. So with our manpower issues with these guys out, security back here, it was more like a really thin area defense than say an ambush. And we remained here for several hours until we basically had to RTB because of water issues. We did have a couple people, myself and Reed, stayed back a little bit longer. It sounds like we only missed you by 20, 30 minutes.
Wow.
Before we were like, all right, we're out of water, and our mission transferred at night to the road, so it was getting dark, so we finally got back. And then we retalked, had a different team to come out and ambush. How far do you want to go with that?
1900 was the stop. All right. Huh. Both teams had to go here during the day. Weird. Funny how that happens. Okay. So, the initial insert, everything was pretty tame, basically. All right. Young Jay, why don't you go over what happened about your insert real quick?
Yeah.
What you did.
So we had a working theory that since we were designated a combat outpost here, and our well was here, and their well was here, that we could probably make like a 150-meter circle around this and assume that the patrol base was somewhere around the area. I mean, logistics constraints where you could make patrol bases. So on our second lift, we had a false insertion here. We skirted around here like this. Waited around here for a bit, and then we pushed into the wood line. And around here, I think, is where we had contact. We saw the enemy with packs go by, and like a minute later, they came back without packs, and they looked pretty tired. So we assumed, okay, that's where the patrol base is.
All right. Outstanding. All right. Good stuff. Now, at 1900, basically both forces' missions changed. So, let's see. Who'd you put out on your night mission?
Our night mission, given that it was,
Who did you assign to? Who did you
yes, it was D'Amico and Charlie team.
Charlie.
All right, Jason. Tell us about your night mission on the first day.
Were we laying mines? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to be fuzzy. It's okay.
2 days was a long time ago.
So, I mean, in order to conduct that mission, we had to go get the mines from the place where we stashed them, and then, you know, bury them in the ground, okay? And so we had stashed the mines earlier in the day, so we went to this place where the mines were stashed, and we waited there for like an hour and a half. Since I was not team leader at that time, I was just RTO. I don't know why we chose to do that and not make that decision.
All right, hold on that point. If you're not team leader, who's in charge?
APL.
I took control of their unit.
Okay, that's cool. Why'd you wait an hour and a half?
So we knew that we had bumped into them at our patrol base. Because we moved across the street, we just were super cautious with everything we did. So at
So you were just being an extended SEALs help, basically.
exactly, we just wanted to see if anyone would follow us, if we heard anyone walking, and we did plenty of that. It just wasn't them. We a couple of people doing some interesting admin things, some problems we had to sort out, and we were in a bush the whole time. So like I said, yeah, we were in the bush. We wait to stash, and then do sectors. He knows what he's talking about.
Okay, Jason, sorry about that. Continue, please.
Yeah, so after, you know, that period of time passed, then we all picked up some mines, and I'm surprised this worked, but we just sort of walked out into the middle of the open under the lights by the road, and then just stood there and buried the mines.
No, I mean we didn't just stand there.
No.
I mean, we weren't like,
Well, but I mean,
On that note, just real quick before we continue on,
Right.
outstanding job with the mines.
Cool. That was a good one. We liked it.
That was a good one. And the reason I'm giving this is like you guys probably didn't get a chance to see this on the blue floor. As next morning to check on the success of the mining mission,
Yeah.
myself and J-Rob go walked right past two of your mines that we didn't see because you buried and camouflaged them so well.
There's some details. It would be cool to hear what the guys thought about it.
Oh, yeah.
About the mission.
Definitely, we'll get into that. At that point, so the job was done at night, but does anybody know what was unique about that position along the road? Because even I didn't realize it when I planned this out. That little defilade is deep.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That defilade is deep. Anyways, continue on, Jason.
So after we buried the mines, we walked back to the patrol base.
Did you have any enemy activity during that time at all?
There was no enemy activity at all.
Yeah, I thought that we
There's
had
so
some
many
enemy
deer.
activity. I saw something jump up from in between the brush. And I was like, good God, these dudes are moving. I was like there. So I grabbed Coin by the back and I push him down, and then we just run through the ditch, and I link up with the rest of our team at the other end. And I tell them, like, we got people coming over. And the next thing I know, I look up and I'm like, they're already on us. They have ran across this fucking field as hard as they can go. And then I seen ears.
I mean, in your defense, deer are the enemy.
I about shot him.
215.
There you go. Free food.
Oh my God.
What is this? Breakfast?
Dunkin' Donuts.
All right, so I'm gonna get some coffee.
That's mine.
Have
donut, there's glaze and a whole bunch of other things.
You can thank Pang, you can thank Pang, I
Hey, how do you make that coffee in your hand?
Thank you.
Here, just take this and just pass it down there.
Yeah.
We may be expeditionary at Bravo, but we are not uncivilized.
We may be expeditionary. Oh, you guys already.
While we're passing this out, Charlie team, one last question. Approximately what time did you start your mining mission and what time did you safely get back to base?
Oh, yes, real feed.
You guys good?
Okay. Guys, we gotta give Joe his moment of glory here, so.
I want my.
They want to be back here
It
too.
is a two-part mic.
Yeah, I wanna get to that as
That's why
well.
it was long. It was all night.
So we left.
Did everybody get a donut?
Quiet. Go on, let them speak so they can hear.
We left the patrol base, I think, at around 2300, something like that. And I think we returned only at 0300.
Oh, wow.
Mining mission was still like 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's time with the first.
Okay, that's the first part. So, who led the second part of the mining mission? Joe, by all means.
Alright, this is what I was gonna say, because this was like going out with two new guys I never fucking met before, and they performed outstanding. But one guy. But anyway, they're in a pair. Anyway, so Dusik said, correct, we left at 10 or 11. We went to the hide site, so we knew you guys were there.
They're over here, man.
These guys know where we are, they're looking for us, we hid the thing, we went to the road like he said. We got in the defilade, and we're carrying fucking concrete blocks. You guys know what the things look like, right? So we took 4, we left 2 behind. We left 2 in the hide site, and we took 4 with us, because it's all 4 guys to carry. We took 2 each, and then 2 for security. Music said we went all the way around the fob, into the lights, we crawled into the defilade. What else? Oh, so basically, yeah, we just fucking crawled in the defilade all the way up to this traffic circle. We buried 2 mines, and then we left 2 mines exposed so that way you guys would find them and not be too concerned about the ones that we buried. Keeping in mind that we have 2 more mines hidden back here. So we crawled, we buried the mines, we crawled up, placed the well, not decoy mines, but the sacrificial mines, and then we crawled back through the defilade and back out the way we came, back into the hide site for another hour or so. What's up?
I'm sorry, could you point out your hide site again where you stashed this 2 other mines?
So the hide site was like 100 meters from the watering point.
Got it.
It's just in
Okay.
the tree line. So we went back to the hide site, hid there for another hour or so, waited to see if anyone had tracked us. We went back to the patrol base, and then Harris took another. How many guys did you take?
I took 2, yeah. It's very
So we got
small,
back at Dusik. What time did we get back from the first mine mission?
About 0300.
0300. And then Harris took guys out from 0300 to. Do you want to talk about your mine mission? So we had 2 more.
Who did you take with you?
Oh yeah.
I took Steve, Marshall, and Kennedy. Yes, Kennedy.
So we from the high
Kennedy, come on up. Why don't you tell about that second part?
Yeah, man, can I get up here?
Tell me you got the mine.
We brought the mines to you. We brought them to the patrol base.
Yeah, they brought the mine to the patrol base and handed them to us.
Alright, so about 03:15 in the patrol base. Looking at approximately, I think the first one was here.
Speak up, you gotta,
Speak up.
everybody's gotta hear you, plus there's race cars.
Got it. Steve and I volunteered to go on a second mine laying mission to complete the mission and get the remaining 2 mines in place. So Steve and I each carried 1 mine, while Tucker himself led point with his nods. We cut across one of the fields behind the PV, moved over, and then we did a quick crossing. There's only 3 of us, so there's no way to do a proper linear danger zone crossing. Went through a gap in the tree line and decided basically we're going to do this as quietly as quickly as we can because this is a very, very exposed area. We knew that the first mine laying mission had laid mines in the northern section of the MSR and that we needed to drop the remaining 2 mines as far down the road as we could. I think our objective was the second roundabout, as far south as the second roundabout. We moved south towards that roundabout, hugging the tree line as closely as we could, At one point, Harris made our get down signal. We got low. Lines laid, rifles raised. Harris yells, "Safety kill!" And we attempted to open fire, but experienced a near ambush. Exactly, a near ambush, and our element was destroyed before we laid the remaining 2 mines.
Outstanding.
Les, can I add to that? There's one key thing when the first mining mission was totally successful, and so the second mining mission was a success whether they laid the mines or not. Because like the mines that we left exposed, if you guys thought that you killed our guys laying the mines, that's still a success.
We didn't forget about the hands we buried. Got a hand. You guys have 4 mines in your hands. Who gives a shit about 2 more? Don't know.
I know, it's a good point, it's a valid point.
In total, there were 2 deeply buried in camouflage, 2 left relatively exposed as sacrificial mines, and 2 captured by Blue 4 without being planted. For a total of 6 mines.
And again, to give credit for the OpCore here, of the 2 they buried and everything, did such a job that those of us at OCs going to check the work the next morning didn't find them, and it's only until we got the report and called in that how many mines have been placed, we went back out to find them. Stuff. You guys did an excellent job on that. All right, Blue 4, who was in charge of that night ambush out there?
So Young J took Alpha Team reinforcement 1 more.
Okay. Alpha Team Leader, tell us what you did to protect the road. Come on up, City.
You gotta talk over the race cars.
Talk loud like your dad's upset you. So, show us where you sat in and what you did. Okay, so from your point of view, when did you detect the enemy?
I was the one that got safety killed. I think they came up behind, so I had there was this big shrub that was here, and then there was the open space that I was looking at. They came in through the big shrub that I couldn't see through.
Okay, so you called safety kill. Who on the Blue 4 opened up and created contact? So you racked up 3 confirmed, huh? Outstanding, double dogs. All right, so what'd you do after that point?
Well, I think we just packed up our things and went home. Didn't we collect a landmine or 2? I think so. They collected 2 landmines, and then we quickly packed up our stuff and ran out of the position.
We stashed the landmines in the barn.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Kip.
We stashed the landmines. Me and Dockery took the landmines and stashed them in the barn.
Okay, good. All right. So you counted coup.
What time did you guys set up there?
Best guess is
I know we headed out a little late.
Dude, and to your fucking guys' credit, we knew you guys were squared away, but we went out so late hoping you guys would start being you know what I mean? Yeah. But so the fact that you guys were still there at 4 a.m. was I don't want to say, but when I say it's impressive, it's not to say that you guys aren't. It's just fucking badass.
I think they were sitting in that about 8 o'clock.
That's legit.
That's the 50-50.
That's legit. 8 o'clock. Yeah.
So that was a long, cold night for you guys.
That was cold. Because we got second traffic circle as well, so that's the only point you can see boats.
Yeah.
So it's kind of had to be there.
Well, we couldn't see much further than that second traffic circle. But we didn't have a very wide field of view because of all the brush.
All right. So, everybody's, I know it's hard to hear over the race cars, guys. So put this on an AR. We need your PA system. You know, but he's right. It was the textbook perfect position. Notice though, with a textbook perfect position, somebody was still able to get up on Sogi. I mean, y'all paid for it with your element and stuff, but it just shows you, despite all your technology, despite all doing all the right things, luck wins. Okay, luck gets a say. Oh, is that what gave it away?
Yeah. The night vision actually helped us detect them, I think, because my understanding is that someone may have turned to the left, we may have seen the flash of the green with the night vision, and that's what allowed us to detect the presence of the enemy. Eye-cups, yeah.
Well,
But then how do you get them to not?
well, it's a double-edged sword because I was about to say, eye cups fog bad,
Yeah.
especially in that kind of weather.
If you're not moving,
I was fucking without
it's a
an
lot
icon.
of
My understanding is that basically in that condition, it was the turning away that allowed that.
Right,
So
yeah,
it's like,
that's what
I can observe that.
The one you told us, the big thing about ambushes that you see is people moving their heads.
Yeah,
You
that's,
literally said that.
yeah, that's one of the things that will give you away. You know, but let's do this. Who made the safety kill?
Harris.
How far do you think you were away? If she's there right now, laying in her position, how far?
Got it at least this. Yeah, at least close.
Yeah, you were pretty close.
Yeah. So yeah, the head movement gave it away and everything. Anybody willing to attribute that more than luck?
Right place, right time.
It was luck and proximity.
What you got?
Question about proper usage of safety kills. So I did LSW. I could not see them. I have heard that Harris had safety killed. I did not want to open up with the LSW for fear of being well within safety kill range. Was that the right move, or should I have just blazed into the tree line blindly?
Didn't feel like the right move?
I felt like we died for it.
You know what? In real life, of course you would just hose the fucking place. Of course you would.
But I could
But
hear.
for safety purposes, not knowing where it is, yeah, you did the right thing. Absolutely.
Technically, too, a solution is, it's a good concern, glad you had it in front of your mind, is you can backpedal off the ridge. You've already been made, you get a safety kill, so back up and then just predator into the woods.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
And then you know, see what you can get.
Blind firing when you know a safety kill has been called just feels like a bad thing.
No, excellent point, but you can backpedal a couple big steps and you can quickly get 10 meters plus, you know, a couple into the woods.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. So, kinetic night mission. You did accomplish your mission. You got lines in place. Next morning, hey, how many people heard the boom? Hands up.
We were waiting for one. We were really excited to hear one, but nothing. Nope.
No, we walked out, found your line, and we threw a stunner. Now, it's interesting that, you know, only one hand went up here because Pang, he heard it. He was the OC down in the combat outpost. He had no idea I was going to do that. That was a spur of the moment thing.
Somebody in the PhD report said it's done earlier. They already would they be working at the Phoenix Star that early? There was stuff going on. I think West Virginia. I know
Well, we are in West Virginia.
Yeah, they did hear it, but I don't think they associated it.
All right. So, back on track. Back on track. Next morning, Hunter, tell us what your plan of the day was for next morning from 06 till about 1900.
Well, during our initial briefing, we were told we were going to meet with a was it called political commissar,
Yes.
0700 the following morning. So we waited up to that time. About that time, we got everybody packed up out of what do they call that 7-Eleven, wasn't it? Yeah. 7-Eleven. Yeah. 7-Eleven decided we were going to drop a rock at Gino's Pizza, the original patrol base, because it's like, oh, they might not go back to the original location if they thought we left. So we set up a PB in this area again, and I decided we were going to move the entire element to the farmhouse to lay an ambush. So we skirted this tree line here, checked the old patrol base and fob area here. Just figured y'all might be in that area. We're just kind of crossing stuff off, points of interest. And then we crossed this field area, you know, through the trees, using cover and concealment to get to the farmhouse. Couldn't have been maybe, but 10 to 15 minutes before we made contact with the enemy squad.
Like
We weren't even
three.
completely set
I was about to say, it's like
Yeah,
three minutes, yeah.
It's a different perspective.
Hold it right there, see? Hold it before you make contact. Blue 4, tell us what your plan today is, bring us up to that contact.
So, our mission led by Young Jake come in 5:30 or so, something like that. So they went down for a better rest cycle than 50-50 plus action and movements. And then so I took 8 total. 8 total, I think. Yeah. Approximately 8. We came up here. We shot a couple out for.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we set up a couple on each side. There was 10. I think we started with 9. So we started with 9. And then we ended up sending off 2 to do basically more screening operations. This time they went up this side instead of here where they take contact the day before. Our intel had mentioned, hey, gate is something to be worried about. Plus we'd already butted heads over here. And then there's this big danger area, so it seemed like the smart money would be there's better cover. We had some route recon that this would be easy to travel. So we were a little bit biased to the opposite side. Not a whole lot, but a little bit biased to that. And then that's when they came in.
Okay. So, who was on this movement down to just a regular? Okay, Chris, tell us what happened when the fight started.
So we had just moved into the farmhouse complex after we had set up kind of like Overwatch on it. I moved my team to kind of the garage area where sort of the buildings meet.
Where was Overwatch?
We set up on the fence just outside. Yeah, so to the west of the farmhouse, looking east, looking into the buildings, while my team moved up kind of the middle. I put my LSW gunner facing down one avenue, he laid down. I put my rifleman facing down another avenue, he got set. And I laid down and covered a third approach and got set. And that's when they kicked off the ambush from literally across the street in a big stand of grass that I had actually used as my location the night before. And we could see them shooting, and then basically a World War II farmhouse brawl ensued. So we were set when they started shooting as other elements came in. So I don't know where that classifies it as an ambush, but yeah, we returned fire immediately.
Okay. One of the somebody who was on the Blue 4 side of that ambush. Once you're set in. Okay, Kadam, tell us what went down.
Well, we were behind the house, and we were there for like quite a while, hours I think.
About 5 hours.
About 5 hours, yeah. What? Yeah.
You were there for 5 hours for that?
We were there for 5 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
5 hours.
That was
All right.
we had to stop X when they got there.
That's true. Yeah.
We were already there before the stop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what caused
We got up there about 8:30.
Before it didn't start until after.
Okay, all right. And just, let's cover that real quick. Okay, there were encroachments on our AO, and the easiest way to deconflict was just have a stop X, because when we went to stop the Jeeps rolling through, because they say they almost rode over you guys, and we kind of called bullshit on that, but whatever. We found out that they were tending to end by 10:30, so the stop X went to 11 to allow them to clear the area and give you guys a full open AO to maneuver in.
We had great naps. Thank you.
Yeah, that was very
I
refreshing.
hope everybody had great naps during that stop X.
10 to 10.
Okay. So, Kadam, if you could, pick it up from when the fight started.
Well, Kevin fired the first shot. He actually saw somebody. I heard it a few minutes prior, but I didn't, think it was actually.
Which Kevin's fired the first shot?
Long hair Kevin. Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, tell us what made you fire the first shots.
Well, I was actually just like getting down to eat something because I was supposed to, because we were rotating a little bit too. I think it was me, Kadam, and I think John, yeah. And so I was like just sitting there in the grass, and I was like just had some food out, and I was ready to hang out. And I saw an olive silhouette, yeah, this guy right here, and I was like, I saw him. I said contact, and then started. Yeah, the fight started from there. So. Yeah.
All right, good reaction. Good reaction. Since you were the guy he saw, did he have you dead to rights?
Miles armor being what it is, but yes, he had me dead to rights. I managed to fire off a mag into that grass, but couldn't get anything through the grass, and he domed me, I think, 10 seconds later, so it was quick.
Alright.
And that was that front LSW facing that entire wide cone down right at the beginning of the fight. So
That's sick. Alright.
it was a good
Well
kill.
done. Well done. Now this firefight went on for an incredibly long time.
We got a little tunnel vision on that, yeah.
Shane, why don't you give us your point of view of that firefight? Because when I finally got there, you were one of the few guys left alive.
So, I think our squad was tasked to conduct a wreck into the lower part closer to the racetrack, just to see whether there enemy activity. Yeah, a little bit south of there. As we stepped off from the farmhouse, I think I'll come on this time. That's alright.
Yeah, come on up. Please
I
do.
like a good side picture.
And by the way, anybody, if you feel you need to get your story across, come up to the map, just automatically do it.
Somebody grab that right.
So Commander's intent was from farmhouse, negotiate your way down here, I presume. Let's see what's going on there.
This is a little before that.
A little before that.
First firefight, not the second. That's the second firefight.
First, you're going to the nickel.
I think we will really end security observation.
Yeah. So at that point, when Hunter broke his team into two elements, we were the weapons squad Alpha team was actually in the field to the north, looking south to see if we spotted.
Yeah, so we're actually looking out this way.
Did you? Okay.
Yep.
Did you kill him?
No, negative. We didn't see any weapons.
Okay, gotcha.
So what we did
Yeah.
is we,
First
once
fire.
the firing started, we waited a little bit to see if there's any calls made or any sort of indications of what to do.
So field fire was here.
We had him, the marksman, stay back maybe 2 or 3 minutes while the rest of the rear path. We set up a litter, like an ambush kind of covering the rear. I was friendly fire without Porsche.
Yeah, thanks.
He came in, and then at that point we kind of waited to kind of do it. And that's when, then when the response happened, that's where we were at.
Yeah. And so now we're on to the second one. Part two. Part two, if I'm correct, farmhouse is here. We were negotiating our way here, I believe. When, just trying to make sure we're looking, okay. Let's just dip here, coming up. I think it's a 3-man patrol from blue coming up in a range of hull. I think within 1 second I said, what the fuck? Oh shit, here we go. They just squeezed up straight away. I think the first guy in front of that section was dead straight away. Drew open fire, I think took out the second guy, so probably 2 to 3 confirmed kills, and it just erupted into gross fire for half an hour, 45 minutes.
Alright. Somebody who was involved in that fight from the blue side. Come on, it was a freaking hour and a half firefight. Nobody was involved.
Question?
John.
Am I starting from the initial contact or from the second?
Start. You guys haven't got a good shot. So start initial.
So, from the initial one, I was pulling my security on the side of the farmhouse. I heard it pop off, and then I could not see anything besides maybe popping my head up every now and then to kind of see where anything might have been moving into. So I started squirting my way around the grass and seeing people, and then got close enough to like safety kill you and maybe Orphan or something like that. It was a big mix up right there, so that's when I got killed. We reconvened on the CCP. Those ones that were dead moved away. We bestowed Young Jay's pack. He had a 5-gallon jug of water in it that we were stowing up there to help us stay up there longer. We had another plan of attack with the 6 of us. I want to say 6 or 7 of us.
6 or 7 at that point.
Yeah. So we came back up to the farmhouse, across the little pond out down there, and came in from that direction. And I don't know how that one started. I wasn't privy to that one. How did that?
I was towards the front of
It went exactly how Shane said. We all came out in a ranger fire.
Oh, okay, so that's what
you it's a bunch of bangs after that.
Yeah. So and then it was just from then on, it was just a running fire. But we were, all sides of the farmhouse. We were running our way. The communication was fucking phenomenal. We took some casualties, but we were inflicting way more than we were taking. And we basically secured the farmhouse. I think Steve was the last one up there from Op. And then you guys resurrected, and we started the E&E kind of back ways because it's
So, before we go further,
You would have pushed.
all right, we got time for the sea stories and who killed John later. All right, J-Rob, go ahead and give your perspective as the OC for Blue, because this was an interesting firefight.
Yes, it was. It was probably more like 2 hours, to be honest with you.
It was a long fight.
So yeah, from the first one, what I saw is they were all set up in an ambush point around the house. You guys came up to the rear on Op 4. Their little soft at first contact that turned into a hard contact. At that point kicked off. I happened to be sitting in the front with the PL. They went around both sides of the house to try and contact you. An amazing volley of fire. I couldn't exactly see what was going on around the back of the house at that point in time, but it was like the fire at the circus. You guys were just going at it. Saw a lot of dead people coming back and going back forward. I think Op 4 really kind of took the upper hand on that one, was able to push Blue 4 off the objective. Blue 4 then went down and consolidated and came right back up. Came right back up into two different columns, correct? In one direction, one different columns. Okay. Came back up in one column. When that firefight kicked off, that was a lot different. That got messy, didn't it? Yeah. You guys were. I made a joke. You guys were like velociraptors all through the grass and everywhere else. I mean, it was. I kept trying to move out of the fight, and I was right in the middle of a fight again. So that was pretty interesting. I did hear some call out on that second engagement. I mean, I heard some call out on the first engagement, like contact, and he's over here, he's over there. The second one was impressive because I heard a lot of pinpointing and people sweeping and maneuvering on people. That was pretty good to go. I heard a lot of Blue 4 doing that, calling out the enemy and where they were moving and how they were doing it. Saw some pretty sneaky stuff coming on over here, which was also good, using good cover and concealment. You were one of those that knew he got kind of detached from his element, so you took up a safe position, and I saw you trying to put eyes on to see where they were moving in case you linked up with somebody else. Same thing with you. You came up through the rear. I saw you holding position during that firefight because it was so confusing. You held position, and I think you were trying to make a link up with your guys when you walked forward. You just didn't know that Kadam was back in the back, and I think she was the one that actually got you coming up to the rear. Where was the guy?
At a moment with Kimball, we locked eyes.
Okay. Yeah. So
he said safety kill.
So
I said safety kill, bang.
So that didn't work out real well. But the firefight ensued for quite some time around there, and you guys kind of danced around.
Yeah.
You danced around the house a lot.
I actually took 4 guys up here on that maneuver. I lost 3 of them.
Yeah, I saw you get. I saw that. But I did see that you kept your head.
We were trying to flank them.
Yes, and you still were able to do that. But when you got back alone, I saw you putting eyes on to start marking where things were, which was smart instead of just rushing into the grass and trying to kill whoever you were.
Just to clarify my notes here, that first firefight initiated about what 2:15 p.m. Something like that. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So. When the tail end of it, after they had basically almost pushed you guys off the objective, they decided their E&E down that route, and I still heard firefighting going on through the lower brush. What do you got?
So when Shane got into his shootout up here, I dispatched a squad, 2 squads actually, in this direction. Things went haywire, got real hairy. I didn't know how many guys I had left, so I figured my job was to do an ambush up here, and this isn't an ambush anymore. I was going to try to peel back, but as we were peeling back with the small element we had of like, what would you say, 5 guys left?
6.
Yeah, 5 or 6 guys.
Did you have your entire
6
team?
guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
6 guys?
It was this little thing we did at the end was 6 guys.
6 guys, all right. Yeah. I got to about here, I started hearing more firefight up here, and I didn't want to leave dudes behind, so we decided to do a flank, and as we're coming around, we saw Blue 4 moseying down that trail there. Some of our guys broke off and stayed on the trail, and some of us went around, and it took us probably about an hour to reconsolidate and see where everybody was at. During that time, the detachment we left here, that is a whole story, but...
Okay, so during the second firefight, Nick, where did you come in sniping across the field? Where were you when you came up, I believe Dockery.
Just to add some context, we had just happened to be returning from our Dockery night. We're on our own recon, going up, happened to find the position of your PB.
So you heard this contact.
Sure, so we were coming down this MLRS field.
Okay.
And Dockery, as we're coming across the clearing, he's like, "Yo, I see dudes over there." I'm like, "Oh shit, wait." I zoom in, I'm like, okay, I see people moving, I can't tell who they are. And then that's when we hear contact. And we rush south to, there's not really there's an island somewhere around here.
Yep.
Not anytime in this map, but I pulled a big dumbhead move and just like, oh yeah, let me just mosey up on the road, get a nice shot. Someone gets me from 200 meters away. So whoever did that, well done. That was, no, it was 200. You sure? I rangefined it from my dead spot. So I got yeeted right there. Dockery, however, was able to. I mean, you probably explain better than I can.
Yeah. So Nick's got on himself, got taken out, and I see this firefight going on. So I'm like, shit.
You were up here as well.
Yeah. So I jumped to this island, handrail the tree line across, and then I get to about here, and I find these three jokers patrolling around. They're backshit to me, so I get to jump on them. Magged up on Miles' armor saved. I think I got one of you.
Yeah,
Took him out, and then they started returning fire. So I started running down here, running to freaking Steve in a bush. We fucking started shooting at. Did I take you out, or Miles' armor again? And I get to about so the farmhouse is here. There's a dirt path that cuts in. I'm seeing the dirt path, and all of a sudden, like the entire fucking like counter element for Op4 just appears out of the wood line.
That was that sweeping element,
Yeah,
right?
sweeping element just
You were
runs
sweeping around,
runs
and
into
he
the
was coming because he heard contact. What was your plan? Because you got killed, I guess. Way out there.
Yeah, I got killed before making a
Okay.
shot.
But you didn't,
Yeah.
right? So what was your plan?
So we stole an enemy radio.
When you were.
Depended-
Oh, and by the way, yeah, that brings me up to
wait.
Oh yeah.
That brings me up to
So,
real
yeah.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Hold that thought.
Were you trying to actively link up? You knew your guys were in contact at the barn, right? Were you,
So I was trying
Or
to
the
save
house.
the radio for the intelligence purposes of it. So I
Okay.
was trying to just like sneak through, and everywhere I went there was fucking Op4 like
okay,
patrols and
so
shit.
you were basically just trying to get back to the rear.
I was trying to get back
Yeah.
to and I
Okay.
eventually got
And that was the thing we established at that point
Okay.
when we made it like we need to
You
get there. We need to get there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you didn't have any purpose or intent really to go join that firefight.
I was just shooting people in the back of the
We just happened to
There was
complete
like
on
some
it.
spooky shit, like, because we kind of had like a weird thing, and we saw there was like a radio, we were like, what? So can
Right.
I have, like, clear that up?
Yeah,
Yourself?
well,
Let's gonna deal with the radio like
No, not
Okay,
the radio
what do you
part.
got?
I don't
What do you
care about
got?
that. I'm just saying, I made like a real stupid call
Uh-huh.
that you guys can learn from. So Harris, 6 guys, me included, we like kind of went around this way, and we went through the field, really cool velociraptor shit, and we took contact. Well, we made contact, whatever. And Harris's 3 guys were going this way, and I had 2 guys and myself right here. And so I see Harris getting in a gunfight. We're kind of laying down some fire towards the farmhouse this way. Boom, 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 taking guys out. Kind of coming down this road. Guys were just filing in. Some guys were bounding across this way. And Harris's guys were moving like this. Our guys were staying here, kind of putting a base of fire a bit. You know, boom, 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 boom. And then, I don't know, like eyewitness is the worst fucking kind of evidence, obviously. So I see 3 guys in green uniforms with no hats on, fucking, walking up the middle. So I assumed it was Harris and his element were killed. So I look at, who was there?
Coin Mike.
Coin and our other guy were like, you guys want to fucking go to Valhalla and push this hill, or should we get out of here? And so we're like, all right, well, we have SOI, because these guys were fucking taking videos and pictures of all their SOI notes and all sorts of cool stuff. So we're like, all right, let's like preserve some of this, because we had just gotten respawn, so it was going to be a little while to the next one. So we're like, in my mind, I was like, all right, let's kind of got together, like, let's preserve some chain command.
No comms.
Some intelligence. We had no radios on us.
okay, that's interesting.
So as far as I was concerned, I was watching Lufor, like, fucking, it looked like, maybe I watched too much war movies, but I was like seeing Germans bringing 88s through, and they were like putting machine guns, like, jawohl, and they were like moving guys around. So we were like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so you egressed.
So like, yeah, E&E through here with the 2 guys, and we kind of just like were hoping nobody was gonna watch us as they were kind of clearing this area out. we come up to this point.
You broke here.
Yep, we broke here. Yep, and we see, piles of, guys in CCP.
We saw you.
We're like, oh my god, like everyone's dead. Like we don't know who's who. Obviously, from far away, you can't tell the uniform. So we're like, fuck it. So we pushed over here. We saw you guys were watching us. So we're like, all right, let's say we're gonna go here. Anyway, we hid in the dilapidated house for a while until we figured out what we were gonna do.
With no radio.
With no fucking radio, no
Okay.
comms, no nothing. So we're like, shit, should we like go back? So we kind of went to the shoot house's breezeway. We went in there and kind of saw the EM-15, no one was in there. We saw the CCP and everyone milling around over there. It didn't look like, it looked like something decisive had happened and it wasn't in our favor. So anyway, we decided basically to retain the intel, chain of command, and we...
Did you have enemy intel on you at this point?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we went back to the fob. We like kind of moved real quick, and we got back to the fob. Gave Hire our intel. We kind of chatted, and we were like, listen, we had no comms. We wanted to make sure you guys knew what happened, where we were. We got you guys intel, and so we said, okay, we have a spare radio. This is the spooky stuff. So we said we have a spare radio at our patrol base. We'll go to the patrol base, make comms, and then relink up with our unit once they redeploy. So then we, re-watered, we moved to our patrol base, and we tear the fucking site apart. There's no radio, and I find a note on my pack that says, it was fucking hilarious. I died. It said, you ever seen that meme? It was like, nice place. It's like, just says nice place blue for it. I'm like,
That's exactly the meme. That's exactly the meme I had in mind writing
I
that.
loved it, dude. So we were like, oh shit. So not only do we not have comms, our site's compromised, but we have the intelligence. So we have the intelligence still. We just can't. So the whole point was we wanted to make comms so we can transfer the intelligence because we weren't sure what the fuck was going on here.
Okay.
So we called Hire. I called my brother who gave me Pang's number. So I called Pang, and then Doc answered, and Doc told me to, who was Hire, told me to relink up with the APL and reestablish communications and discuss about what was going to happen with this kind of holding the farmhouse.
So that was your orders from that point, was to relink
Hire,
up and hold
Hire
this
gave me
position.
orders to relink up, make fucking comms by yourself. And so that's what we did. We had a long walk.
Yep, okay.
It was cool though. It was cool.
And as a note, my element swept around. We relinked with survivors. We tried looking for D'Amico for the mine, but we just kind of stayed put to reinforcements.
So that was your last orders, basically, was to hold that. So
I had no orders to hold it. It's going to get into the weeds. Initially, I was going to send out a recon team here to make sure there's nothing in this wood here,
Okay,
so I
you're
can
gonna
screen it, so I can set an ambush there for guys coming up.
Okay.
Turn into that prolonged firefight, and after the firefight, I was just waiting for more guys so we could peel back as a whole group.
When did you guys go to our? So that was the whole point of me telling the stupid story. When did you guys get into our patrol bases? Like,
that was
We arrived there at 1:40 was when we arrived there.
When was after what's it called? StopX. How long after StopX did you get into our patrol base?
You guys left out about noon.
Yeah, it was after StopX. Like we were booking it.
So you after StopX booked it for the patrol base.
That's right.
So you guys circled each other.
So basically, after StopX, we left the patrol base.
Yeah.
We went through all this. We went through literally like this wood line.
Oh, that's
we followed we handrailed the property line.
So you went up this way.
Right.
And
You
we
guys
went
went
this way.
Okay.
So we just missed each other.
Just literally.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Alright, so let me speak to this thing about taking of the radio. I was pretty adamant about that in the briefing Thursday night. Don't take gear because it's a safety issue. Okay? People sign these radios out. People are accountable for this. Don't take gear. What you do is you make a note of the freak the radio's on. Take a picture if you got your phone with you. For that, don't take gear. Now it's cool that you left a note. All right, so we were able to get it squared away. But no, we don't do that ever, because you might be thinking it's cool to take somebody's gear, but then they're going to go into panic mode because their gear's lost. And it's one thing to take one shepherd gear; it's quite a different thing to take somebody else's personal stuff. And let's be, well, somebody might know who their gear and who their one shepherd is gear. The people stealing it might not. All right, Chris.
So the radio was in my pack. So before we left, we did change the channel on it to a non-used channel. So, okay. But yeah, I mean, I put it in my pack as a complete radio, and I got it back at the casualty collection point missing a battery cover, so we'll have to sort all that out. I checked my battery battery cover wasn't in my ruck, so yeah.
All right, we got lost gear. We got
I got location where I was at when I transferred it from my KIA body to him, so I had that GPS coordinate marked, so I can go there, and that's likely where it's at.
Docker and Nick, you guys just volunteered to find it.
Cool.
Jason.
Yeah, so like I don't bring a cell phone out there, so like if I did not have a radio when I got lost, then it would have been a safety issue, you know. So like I think it's important to keep that in mind. Like I don't have like a dozen cell phones with ATAC on them that I expect to throw away or damage on these kind of events. So if you take our radios, then somebody might have an emergency and not be able to call it in.
Right. You can't call flash, flash.
Yep, exactly. That's why we don't do that, guys. All right, next. Top 4, OC. Quick on this massive battle.
It was a massive battle. It's funny because people are saying like, oh, this is an hour and a half long. There were 2 full resurrections. Those were 2 hours apart. So this was actually like a 3.5-hour battle. Before the battle, we started up here at the PB, handrail down here, through the old FOB site, and then came up. Kevin's team was up here, as mentioned earlier, around the nipple, trying to provide cover, but you hadn't even gotten there yet, right?
We had been there for maybe 10 minutes watching, but we couldn't see anything.
And then came up here, made contact, as mentioned previously. U6 team went around to the south, to our right. What was left of Coop's team and the headquarters element went around left, north. I think 3 blue KIAs on each side of the house, which was almost your entire element at that time. You had 7. You had 7.
So we started with I think 7, and we had 4 when we took the house. We still had 4 at the end of it, right up until the safety kill, the killer got on Birch, and then we were down to 3. But we pushed them off the hill.
That's the second one.
Yeah, the first one. I'm sorry.
So then you guys had to go down and respawn. By the time there was a reconsolidation up here, and preparation for the actual setting up of the ambush, it was almost respawn time for us as well. Yours was bottom of the odd, ours was top of the even. So Paris elected to wait for the respawns and be able to have a full ambush set up. And as soon as that happened, he sent Kevin's team down here, which is where he countered you guys in the file, and blew the second ambush attempt. And that was interesting because Scott came up. There was a lot of fighting going on, right? There was, as I mentioned, people were separated on the op side, like a lot. Kevin's team was up here. The headquarters element was over here. There was part of a team split down here. Individuals running around. I could see like Steve was running, went over here, went down here, back up here. But you kept together with 3 people, with a very solid team, running around here, like up in the back, down in the front, all around, in the middle. That kept everybody from reconsolidating. Op4 could not reconsolidate because you were occupying the middle area in between, and you had separated all the units. When you finally decided to leave and go back down the road, they were able to reconsolidate. But it took a long time. There were 2 over here, 2 over here, and 2 over here. And by the time they got the 6 together, it was almost time for another respawn. So, it was a pretty big mess. Most of it's already been covered. And then, of course, the 3 that were missing, Nico and the other 2, we had no idea where they were at. So, set up an ambush. Finally, to the actual mission, which was to set up an ambush in the house. The ambush was set up. Sat in place for an hour and a half, doing nothing, and you must probate. Pretty much the end of it.
Scott, did you have guys patrolling the shoot house after all this contact?
No. Oh, I went up there to take a luxury. Oh yeah.
You have a dump pouch?
Oh, that's what you're doing when you were dead.
But I had no hat on. But you had a dump pouch though. Yeah. All right, because we saw someone when we came back from our excursion. We went to the shoot house and we were like, we were down at the bottom of the shootout, so we went to the trees, and I don't know what the fuck I'm pointing at. We were right here, and then I see a guy behind us, like walking around milling with a in that. So I was like, oh, we just missed them.
There were 2 dump missions.
Okay.
Because there were 2 major casualty groups, right? So and the CCP was over here. So yeah, so one went up here during the first mission, and then the second one, guys started going down the hardball to look for a latrine down this way. So I sent back up to the house here. But there was.
So we did see what we saw.
Now, if you did it for an hour, you might as well go take a dump.
Agreed. Has been done.
Did that change how we did it? Yes. That was your own guys. Yeah.
I was trying not to dump in.
Oh yeah. So one of the things we did have issues with, that J-Rob and I both noticed, is that people were leaving their headgear on when they were dead, or putting it back on after they got to the CCP, which made for a lack of clarity on who was going where. Similarly, people who were alive were like, oh man, this is over, it's so great, taking off their headgear, rubbing their heads and looking like they were dead, and then firefights would erupt and issues happen because of that. So if you're alive, keep your headgear on. If you're dead, take your headgear off and keep enjoy your nap.
To that point, I noticed because I was at the front of the file on the second ambush, or second in line, I think Kevin was front. I think he actually dodged it, but I got eaten up pretty quick. And it just with the helmet, I'm not used to that, you can't just whip it off. So I got shot, and I'm like, trying to dig out the buckles, and it's always like, take your headgear off. I'm like, I'm trying. Like actively, it just takes a second.
But like even when when we moved the CCP, when we moved the CCP that you guys were in out of the sun, because you guys were sitting out in the hot sun, right? So we moved it down the road. Some of the guys would get up and move out. A couple of you put your headgear back on for the road movement to move the CCP, but you were already dead. I know it's not convenient to carry your helmet in your hand, but it's confusing to other people.
Fair.
That chaos and friction of war, right?
Okay, very good.
Passing the time.
Pointer of power. Okay, so some people requested artillery. Who did that?
We requested mortars. I don't know.
Collective request.
All right. In this fight right here, that's suicide, guys. That's why you didn't get your request. That's suicide. Even 60 millimeter mortars, you'd have wiped yourselves out.
We didn't call. Okay, I thought we were talking about for like the receipt MS4. We didn't get confirmation. We didn't
call it in. We had a call for
Whoever called in artillery fire.
Danger close.
It was this side over here. That's why we kept. That's why we kept denying you.
I think what was so once I think Nick and Dockery confirmed the PB, then they relayed the information to Stuart, who then tried to call fire mission on their PB.
Oh,
Alright, LT.
that's good.
We didn't have any shot down for political reasons.
That's another thing. This was a civilian commerce zone, guys, so it's not good public relations for the government to kill their own kind. Or at least not for a democracy. So, okay, that fight finally culminated.
We were getting radio calls in the shack, and it reminded of you seeing We Are Soldiers, and they're listening to the French and the Viet Cong at that time, and you hear all the gunshots. It's what it was over the nets too. We're like, because we could hear it a little bit, but when your dudes are calling and shit's popping, and the OCs are like, hey, this fight's still. You can hear all kinds of automatic fire. We're like, holy fuck, this thing is still going on. It's like an hour and a half later. I mean, I was trying to get a nap, heard the fire, woke up, was like, God damn it. But y'all were trying to utilize the new radios and things of that nature too, and it was definitely a longer engagement than we had anticipated. So much that you've probably seen an army of fucking OCs run down there too.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, the big melee finally culminated. But one of the lessons here is both of you went to set an ambush, and instead a meeting engagement happened. And kudos to both of you because the aggressiveness, y'all pressed it and stuff. As soon as one of you took fire, running away was a valid option. You know, wasn't even a bad one, but y'all stuck it out and had one hell of a firefight. Good on you. All right, so
I will say this, after the first respawn, and we all started getting back with our respective units and found our platoon leader, the speed at which they re-engaged was absolutely impressive. And they put it on us from the second I spawned in, threw my helmet on, found my platoon leader, they were opening fire again.
yeah, if you guys would have been 10 minutes later, that would have went completely.
Yeah, we'd have been
different. We
set
would
back
not
up
be
in
together.
position. I was standing in the open, in the middle, trying to find out where they wanted our entire fire team at when y'all opened fire again, and we had just dispersed, went back around to where we were the first fucking time around the house.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard they were like,
We managed to come up with a plan pretty quickly.
well, yeah,
That's
because
not-
I saw him over the bush. He was laying down on the left when I started firing on him, and somebody sniped me from over on the far left side where I didn't even think they were at, next to the power pole.
Probably Birch.
yeah, I heard I just spawned 5 minutes ago. And that guy was dead again.
Yeah, I saw you pop your head up, and I was like, oh shit.
Their
And I popped
respawn
mine
was
back
half
down.
an hour before yours.
Half an
So
hour.
they had to
Oh, sneaky bastard.
In connection with that, I was surprised that more of these things did not come over the radio to the team leaders. It was like the platoon leader personally communicated them to us, where we're supposed to be and stuff like that. So you can see how that's going to slow down coordination a lot. You know, relative to if we get them over the net, then I would just place my guys. So.
What if your radio isn't working?
Yeah, actually, I think we're
That-
the
that
last
was
bird
it.
at that point.
I thought we did really good considering we barely used the radio.
That particular, can I get the reason? The reason for that was is we didn't have a full set of working radios between us. Yours was working, the headquarters radio was working, but both the other teams, their radios were working intermittently. So it was easier for me to run around and give everybody, relay them the commands. That's why I was doing that.
And you are a runner.
And I am a runner. And I did a lot of running.
Columns are going to go down in the
Appalachian Trail.
firefight.
Well, you know, truth in advertising here at One Shepherd.
In reality, when you're placing an ambush, the PL typically places every team individually on the spot, not radio like you guys go over here, you guys go over here. That's
Terrain change. You know, that's one thing that we learned out here is terrain can change anything in a firefight. And when we're moving around into an area that we've been in for 15, 20 minutes, and 20 minutes of that, we were in a firefight. So no one had their true bearings on where to set up, where their fields of fire were. There was no time to set that up at any point in time, because every time we tried to set it up, they came back and were hitting us again.
Okay. Now on that point, everybody who's fought in this AO at a previous One Shepherd semester, put your hands up.
Jesus.
All right. So you've all seen this terrain before. Anybody willing to dispute it looked a whole lot different this time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but that completely changed this AO.
I walked around, I was lost somehow, and I've been here a few times. It was like so different.
Yeah, I think they mow it for October. Yeah.
Well, it helps definitely differentiate spring from the fall.
Yeah, that changed things pretty radically. All right, so at that point, the massive firefight finally died. How many times have I said that so far? Then we switched over to our night missions. What were your orders for your night mission?
So we got word that the MSR had been damaged, but was under repair notionally, and we needed to re-clear it. So
I was gonna worry about
anyway,
the EOD team coming through.
yeah, so we had an EOD specialist who was going to attach to us. So we punched out, led by young Jagan, because he was already there. So he took a fresh six-person element over here. Although this time I believe it was the hedgerow north, so we had a slightly smaller area to work with. But we expected to be out all night, and we brought everybody. Stripped down, we had sleeping gear only, and everybody came. So we had 6 here. Once we got our EOD guy, the 9 of us organic to the unit plus our ED, so make 10 total. Came up this way. We had 3 detailed to protect our EOD guy with a bucket of smoke grenades. They peeled off. Doc was in there the night before, so he got them where they needed to be. And the remaining 9 of us were essentially going to move into contact through this last hedgerow here, because it was basically the most dangerous and most probable course of action. So if they're here, they can see all of it. It's near their territory. They don't have to move nearly as far. It's the least able to be suppressed from our position for the most part. So our plan was to move into contact and hopefully beat them to it, although we kind of thought that was unlikely given the distances involved and having to wait. So hopefully we'd occupied ahead of time and basically set up an ambush if we could catch them before they got in. Obviously that time seal didn't work out at all, and it was so thick, we tried several times, several different places. We could not move ladder through it at all. At all. So we ended up kind of going in front and firefight ensued, but we were planning to set up there as an ambush or kick them off the hill.
Scott, what time did you guys roughly start patrolling, like the MSR?
That was, so it was 1900 when we stepped off here. I think it was maybe 1930 or so.
Yeah. We stepped the 6-man element 1730.
Well, you got, yeah, they were set much earlier. Yeah. We are a security element. They probably left 30 to 45 minutes after we got our revision of orders for that part. We were kind of planning on heading out that night anyway. So they were ready to go. The rest of us were just waiting on our EOD guy. We departed at like 19:15. We basically just got on the same pages with the our specialist, and then we rolled out. So it was probably maybe 1930, 2000 or so when we got up here. And we tried poking around for a fair bit before the ambush actually was sprung, and we just couldn't make any progress through the hedgerows at all.
Okay, Hunter, tell us what your plan was to stop his plan.
All right. So I'm going to start with, we were given orders like right away to make way to our old patrol base to deconstruct it and move it. So, by the way, the time hacks for this were insane. I think we had to be back at our old patrol base in like, what did we say? Get there by like in 30 minutes or something?
Oh, sorry, just say again?
We had to get back to the patrol base by 1700.
Yeah,
we had to have we had to be back, pick up our patrol base, and set a new one by 1700.
Yeah, by 1900. Yeah. The orders were given at 18.
Yes.
1800.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, so we managed all this distance, deconstructed a patrol base, moved it a little further south about here. Yep. Placed a new patrol base and met the new political commissar. Regrettably, Keeling had to go to another detachment. So, yes, the penal detachment, you know. Anyway, so we get the new political commissar coming in, and he tells us that we should anticipate enemy contact, like, could be as early as nightfall, going along this road, using a minesweeper to detect mines. So, I organized everybody, with the exception of 2 men, to stay as security at this patrol base. We moved the entire element, with the exception of the security team, way back there to the, there's a hedgerow watching this road. And I just lined them up and decided, all right, your security team, you're going at this corner, next 2 guys, set. We covered probably, would you say, like 70 yards or so, 50 to 70 yards of wood.
Yep.
Okay. We waited for a little bit. Eventually we started seeing little black figures moving across the field, and we engaged them about the time the first smoker. Did y'all use flares? Was there a flare involved?
So the smoke grenade, I pulled the pin on it, so it went off and the fucking smoke grenade was on fire.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
So I was thinking like, they must be using some sort of thermite to get rid of
Napalm, baby.
That's what really malfunctioned.
It looked awesome. It looked really cool.
That's what tipped you guys off.
Well, I was watching the entire time, but then like I saw that happen. I'm like, oh no, they're destroying something. So I just started, and I started blasting.
I just started blasting.
So anyway, we had seen you. We knew you were there, and then that happened, and we were like, well, okay then. That must mean something.
We had like I made sure every man before leaving the base had. Before leaving for this ambush, had sleep gear, cold weather equipment, every bit of night vision and thermal we had on our team, because I was expecting to sit here for a while, do rotations, and wanted every bit of observational devices I could get. But we didn't even have to wait that long. Y'all were already in that area. So we did our initial engagement. We saw guys. I was trying to pull my guys out after that, after shooting for a bit, so we had a little bit of time and distance to cover. And then I saw another element moving from the left, is that right? Y'all had an element coming from the left of where that first mine was being marked or something?
Yeah, somebody that had a IR laser was moving that direction that I kept laying down on.
You were on like the far
end. I went all the way to the end. I was trying to distract you guys.
So I saw that and was just like, oh, they got a flight.
Did I ever kill you or get close? Because I was jumping on later.
Oh, we can get to that. So as I'm trying to yell for my guys to pull back, I see that, and I tell them to get back online. We do another engagement. We're just picking targets again, and then D'Amico pops a flare, and I want to say not soon after that, we decided to leave. We left an LPOP in that area, though, just to keep an eye on the remaining mines that would have been along that road there. And that was that mission.
Okay.
Like everyone deserved a fireworks show.
All right, hey, so I was OCing with Op 4, a couple things on your ambush and kicking it off and things of that nature. Big thing is the PL went in and he set all his teams where he wanted to. Was it hard for you to communicate with your far end, giving them commands?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's because you set yourself up right next to your flank security out here. It might have been more inducive for you to go more into the center, which then when you engaged, that would have gave you, your enemy force would have been more into your kill zone too, instead of just hitting them. It was more like they're in front of me, so I'm going to shoot them. If you're more into the center and you have time to set up, your end guys can engage. Also, you guys know it was loud as shit getting in there, right?
Oh
It
yeah.
was loud, all right?
Yep.
Then there was a lull, all right? And then about 5 minutes later, a whole lot of moving and jiggling and all that shit. Hey, once you first make that noise, get your ass set and shut up and don't move no more. That shit was loud as all get out, all right? You don't want to give away your position once you guys already got it all calm and then, oh, fuck, my ass hurts or my elbow needs to move. You guys could see them too, starting the minesweeper guy with his awesome minesweeping equipment, all right? Sometimes it's going to suck, but just stay there, stay as quiet as you can, no snapping of the twigs and all, and oh shit, here they come, kind of thing. All right, so your noise discipline was a big thing. Yes, we know it's going to make some noise when you first go in there, but you guys had a lull of quiet, and then it got kind of, people were adjusting and shit. It got loud again. All right, so don't kick off don't give the ability for you to blow your ambush.
Question for you, Harris. Did you at any point in time, I think this is before like the second wave and the flare and all that.
Yeah.
Did you have any indication that we were essentially right in front of you on the dirt track?
Like, what do you mean by that?
So there's another hedgerow basically here, right?
Yeah,
in real life,
yeah.
and you guys were right about.
Yeah, about that area.
Whatever, somewhere about here.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more this way. Did you have any indication that there was a 6-person group right in front of you?
Oh, I had no idea that there was another group.
Okay, so we heard, that was really helpful. We heard you first. Before, because we can't see, you can see into the trees a little bit with thermals, so you can't see across trees with thermals. So we basically, hey, stay here. And those with night vision kind of creeped out, and we could see you. And then we actually tried re-infiltrating, and I got stuck in the bush and made a hellacious amount of noise.
Was that y'all that swept across the field? I'm sure we can get into this.
Yeah, but anyway, I didn't know if you knew I was there, because we did hear you first. We could see the flashes, so we're like, oh, they're northwest. But that gave us a clue, like, oh, wow, we're really close. And I was trying to sneak up on you, and it was going horribly. But I was like, I know we got close and I didn't know.
Was this before?
But I was like, all right, guys, turn around. But there's no way they didn't hear, because I could hear you. I guess you were on the left side. The nearest there. I was like, there's no way they don't know we're here now. We gotta move back. So we did a feint and we moved back.
It took a while for you guys to realize that they were over there. But eventually they
Yeah, so I was like, there's no way they don't know now. Like, I think we got close, but there's no way they don't know now. So we actually moved back about 100 meters just to be like, hey, they left, and then we ended up kind of re-engaging the screw through plan in the second iteration, but we were there.
Yeah, somebody, it might have been Dave, was on that far end, and as OC is sitting there, I could hear dudes coming, can't say nothing, but it took you a while because you did engage. Then you were going to pull back, hey, it's a far ambush, we hit them, we fucked them up, let's get out. Oh shit, let's get back in. And that was why you could start hearing more people. And you were saying, hey, we need to get the fuck out because they're going to try to flank us. They know where we're at, clearly. So I think Dave might have heard them too. But
I remember that.
it was loud. I'm just saying, it was very loud getting in and then readjusting.
It wasn't all 6 close because I could hear you. So that I think we had like 2 KA at that point and 1 without night vision. So they just stayed here. And then me and John primarily hooked up, and I could see on the thermals, and then he basically came up as a, when you blast into the woods, your friend blasts into the woods too, so I could see where you guys at, and he just kind of aimed where I was aiming. The point was just to disrupt it. It wasn't a serious chance of really digging you out with the 2 of us, but.
We did have you're basically saying we had our left flank security get chewed up, so you might have knocked them out.
Okay.
That would explain.
Was the flare effective?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I saw you.
I mean, it was cool, but when he launched it off, I heard people, I think there's some over there, and standing in the back, as soon as that bitch went off, it sounded like your whole team went, oh shit, there they are! Oh, there they are, and then it came up.
I mean, it was, from the person who was on the road, like in Death Light, it literally was like, the fire wasn't very accurate, then the flare went off, and like, started hearing like all the, beeps, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I couldn't believe how effective that was.
It was really good for optics. I was actually able to see through my scope, so I was not having to rely on a laser.
Yeah, we all had nods on, and we're like, night, stealth, this is working out, we're getting down the road, we can do this.
Alright, so questions about the flare. That's a maritime distress flare, guys. Its hang time's roughly about the same as a real military flare. Maybe, being generous, 20% of the output stuff. Look how much you saw.
Military flare you're saying is brighter.
Way brighter.
Oh yeah.
It's about 20%.
Like a real yes. No, going to steal us something.
No, yeah, that's just
steal.
So it lit up for you guys today. The real one lights it up way. And you can damn near see.
It wouldn't be red, it would be more of a bright white light. You get all kinds of shadows and everything and stuff. So that's what 20% can do. Imagine what if we had real military ones.
And you guys could see that's your accuracy. I did hear the PL say, hey, once you got the first volley, pick your shots, well aimed, and then of course when the flare went off, they were like, I can fucking see him, shoot him, and then you guys could hear more. I can start hearing more hits, and I imagine that's for guys out there in this goddamn kill zone, and you can start hearing beeps, beeps, beeps. So,
what was, I'm just curious really, what was the casualty for the amount of people on the field? Was it
hellacious?
70%.
There was all on you. We had a big kerfefe with the plan, and so there's supposed to be, the plan was brief to say we're going to camp in that hedgerow to control north and south, highway avenues and all that, and then the only people in the road should be our minesweeper and our 3 attached to it. And hey, Hunter's clever, so who knows what kind of shenanigans he's up to. And hey, it'd be really dumb, but again, could just be surprised. If there's anybody charging our guys, they're not our guys, because we know 100%. There are 6 here, there are 3 there are 6 with me, that's all 15 of us. We're accounted for. There's a bunch more running across the road, so we shoot each other up pretty good.
I think we actually had a plan to move our guys to there's like a really deep ditch in this area up here to push them across to that
we wanted to. So it's funny that you mentioned charging element. Yeah, that plane evades me now. I forgot what.
Who was protecting your EOD tech?
Detailed or actually out there?
Well, actually out
Oh,
there in
we
the
were doing
field.
the fuels.
What, all of you were out in the field?
Yep.
In there, surrounding him?
Yes.
You guys were like around him? Like what kind of formation were you guys?
We were so we adopted a line facing east, and we were doing a bounding maneuver. Basically, we did sort of similar to an Indian run. Rear person pushes forward.
I saw that through my knowledge. I saw
You
y'all
guys were
bounding.
moving really well. You just couldn't tell exactly.
Through thermals, I thought I could see somebody like moving down, placing somebody here, then like 15 more feet, someone else would come
That's
down,
what I
15
saw.
more
Yeah,
feet.
that's
nice.
And then you could actually see the motion of the minesweeper with the thermals pretty clearly, like somebody was making that fucking motion the entire time.
Hamilton, as the EOD tech / OC. Tell us what you saw from your perspective of that.
So we punched out, started going down the road. We were probably out there for a couple minutes. It wasn't long, and they started receiving fire. Like I said before, fire wasn't very accurate because of the light situation. But as soon as the flare went up, I realized, okay, stop EODing. Admin, there's a lot of people dead now because of that flare. What ended up happening is we ended up going back. We did find one mine and disarm it. A lot of people were killed, fall back, and then they came up with another plan to then get the other three.
Okay. Did you eventually disarm all mines?
Yes, we did. The glow sticks we used to mark them were all dead, so it took a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Alright, so we had to game it for OC benefit because you guys camouflaged them so well in the daylight that there was going to be no chance of finding at night and stuff. Because it's a concrete block. It's not a real mine.
Did you get the fire that even though you may have killed the first one, there may have been a subsequent attempt at the SR to be mine?
Yes, we got that report, which is why we left an LPOP out there. That came into its own shenanigan as well, where the LPOP, we heard a firefight during the night, and we thought they were MIA at first because we couldn't reach them on cause, but later on we hear Dusick whispering on the radio, they're 5 meters away from me. Oh shit! And, I get a short report on one KIA on his part, like he's got one guy missing out of his squad, so we knew there was 2 of them left out there, and it culminated into a rescue mission later in the night, right before the 12 a.m. ceasefire.
And who went out on that?
We followed, but
who went out first? Y'all went out first and engaged?
Yeah, me and
we had that firefight, so I sent a quick QRF out there to see what's going on.
So and speak to your QRF, what you guys got into as you were coming over cresting the hill.
Yeah, so we heard the radio communications, and then firing kicked off. Harris kicked us, the 2 of us, me and my LSW gunner, out as a little QRF. Luckily, there was that hill, the Ridge Runners Gravel Stompers hill that we could get overwatch on. We got out there. I started counting people that I could see in the thermals and I got over a number that was 4, and I realized it was you guys. At that point, Hamilton, Jesus.
Kansas.
It's okay, I've only lived with you for the last 2 days straight. Kennedy realized he didn't have his halo on, and I had to send him back as a runner anyway to let the PL know that, let the PL know that we had a bunch of guys coming, or it looked like you guys were moving towards us. Or at the very least had overrun and probably killed the LPOP.
When we went out, we didn't have a radio, so we needed a runner to go back anyways. And so I'm like, all right, off I go. And we
had a nice staring contest for a while. We were trying to
Yeah, I figured you guys could see me.
I was like, the person was doing let me check. Make sure you're behind. When you're moving, you look behind you.
Yeah. So
when I did this. That was their cue to turn around.
So at that point, I engaged a little bit just to give them time to stand too, because I wasn't sure what they were going to do at that point with Harris. Buy a little time, And then it was fun to listen to LT organize a fire and maneuver on my little hilltop position, very precisely coordinated.
We need to talk about the aggressiveness, soldiers. All right, when I say I need a rapid rate of fire, I expect all of you to fucking start.
I did get a couple of near misses, but at that point I moved off the top of the hill and I just laid in the grass. I listened to you guys talk for a while.
It was only you there, correct?
Just one guy.
I called it.
Yeah.
Called it.
No,
There's
somebody
only
said
there's one gun.
Somebody said count the guns. There's only one guy, and I was like, damn, they're really picked up on that fast.
Chloe, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on like what kicked that all off. So when Harris had after the main firefight and flare and everything, Harris pulled back the whole element and left Dusick and myself roughly where he was. In the hedgerow somewhere over here. You know that long one that's not on the map. So they all peeled off, and he said he was going to have some kind of QRF. They weren't going to be too far, and they were just going to circle back and maybe rest up. So Dusick and I were there for, I don't know, a couple of hours? 2 hours?
Like an hour.
An hour?
Okay, and then I didn't have comms anymore?
Yeah, we had no comms. So
Right.
we saw an IR laser, or what we thought was an IR laser, like scanning the MSR, coming from somewhere over here. And so we saw the fucking laser, and we're like, all right, that's the first thing we've seen. They're scanning the field. And so Dusick tries to radio it in. We didn't have comms. So I was like, all right, well, there's no point of an LPOP if we can't say anything about it. So he made the call. We started backing out. So we start backing out, and I was a little further back than he was. I get back right to the edge of the dirt track, and I see two of you guys just standing.
Yeah. So it was you that I had that staring match with for a second.
Yeah.
Aha.
And so there was two of you just standing there in the open, and I was like, it looks dark. It's probably not our guys. So I tried to whisper to Dusick. I was like, yeah, there's two guys. And he can't hear me, and so he keeps crunching through, and then more of you kept coming out.
Oh, God.
By the time he gets up to me, he's in a better position. He can see down the dirt track, and he can see. He's whispered to me. He's like, I don't know. There's 4, there's 5, there's 6. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then he gets the radio transmission off just in time. He's like, I got comms, and he says like, we're about to be fucked. And then seriously, it seemed almost instant. As soon as he got the radio transmission out, you guys opened up on us, I backed out. I think I popped off 2 shots. Just barreled through the bush, ran along the trees and hid on the other side of the dirt track. Then when the QRF came, I heard our guys. I was like, thank God, fucking freedom is here. And I didn't know where Dusick was. I thought he got killed. So I was hiding in the bush over here. When the QRF came over the hill, I was going to sweep you guys from the back. But you had good rear security, and you had 2 guys in the field, so I couldn't make it out. So I saw the 2 guys. I waited till you were very close before I opened up on you. I thought about safety killing you. I chose not to because I was gonna wait till you're close. You had no idea I was there, and I shot. Somehow I didn't kill you guys, and you guys got me. So
Yeah, can I come up and?
Why do you think they lost comms?
Thermals.
They're in the trees.
No. I'll tell you why. So, when you guys came back from your successful ambush, and you all moved into your PB, most dudes started doing what? Started getting out their bags, kind of like, yay, instead of maintaining, having some guys on security, some people still manning the radio while the other ones, every joker, just started getting their night shit ready and like, woo, we fucking stomped that ass, instead of staying combat minded. Dudes were just fucking off, and then y'all heard some shit, and I looked because I'm sitting on my little stool and shit. Oh fuck, dudes! Now I got to throw my fucking gear on, and fuck, where's the radio? And so that was the thing. Everybody just fucking went damn near admin, so y'all couldn't hear before that Dusick. Now being on the OC net, I kind of knew where they were at, but he's trying to call. Nobody's listening to the radio. Nobody's fucking doing security. Everybody was doing kind of their own fucking thing. So you got to remember, yeah, you guys are all jazzed up because you just got some kills and shit. But when you get back, they were It wasn't very long. They were already back and some more shit was firing right outside your PB.
Yep.
Alright, so you guys gotta stay tactically minded.
Yeah, so I was able to make transmissions at 2100 and 2115. But then after that, I was in the same position the whole time. I couldn't move. But like 2130, 2140, I keep trying to make transmissions and there's nothing. So then I'm like, but I did say like all stations comm check and nobody got back to me.
Right, and that's why.
Let me speak to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people bitch about the radios here at One Shepherd, people over history, Tom Reed, no. About how the 77 never works, how the 128s don't reach anything. 80% of all radio problems at One Shepherd are operator induced. If you do not listen to the radio, it doesn't work. If you do not employ it correctly, it doesn't work. If you don't take your 77 with you, it doesn't work. If you take your 77 but won't put up your long antenna, it doesn't work. All right? So the radios work just fine. The person has to work.
Yeah, we gotta do better with that, especially at night, doesn't matter daytime or not, is fucking accountability of the troops.
Yep. Yes.
Okay? You gotta know where your fucking people are. Alright? This shit where we're missing fucking head for fucking hours on end is unfucking acceptable. In real combat too. Alright? We understand that some guys are gonna get killed. Alright, and I think Red in the back got killed, and an OC can't go on every damn maneuver, especially when you're going off and over, so he came back. You get your fire team leaders, your squad leaders, your platoon leaders, you gotta have accountability over troops. You gotta know where the hell they're at. Alright?
But why did, like when I asked for all stations, no one responded, like November 30th?
I just told you, because nobody had their shit on. They were all trying to get their nighttime shit going.
Every transmission you send after 9:30 when you're requesting off station, unless you ask for higher, we're not going to respond because we heard you before and we heard you continuously try to reach your inter-team comm. So we stepped out of there. We just monitored
That's our
the radio.
job. We like.
Yeah, no one was responding to you. And if you did call higher at that point, we will say, yeah, we heard you.
Yeah, if you flash, that's different, but we're not going to interrupt the
that's your intercom.
Hold on, we got a lot of comms. We're going to take them in order. Read.
All right, can I come up and talk about the Blue 4 perspective leading up to that skirmish and sweeping maneuver?
A question.